in the squadron. They called him Bullets, but we call him Greg Kelly. Greg Kelly is on the air
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
I actually joined it and never look at it other than when I want to find out what the hell he is saying. What is important to him, because what's important to him is important to us, and I think it's worth knowing. And it's also very entertaining at times, very informative, and great insight can be learned. Ooh, and here's something right off the bat. This is within the past half hour. Israel derangement syndrome is real, he posts. Israel is a tiny country of just 290 miles long by 85 miles wide in the Middle East. Goodness gracious. I think that's like the size of New Jersey, if that. It is the only country there that represents Western civilization, surrounded by many radical Islamic nations of which want them erased. From the river to the sea, its population is just 10 million, and the average annual income per citizen there is just $58,000 per year. Yet those with IDS scream daily that this is about who the world should worry the most about. IDS is real. Israel derangement syndrome. How about that one? Let's see. Also, the SAVE Act. Whichever party terminates the filibuster first will be the party that survives and thrives. If the Democrats win this race, that's right out of the 90s, but I like it. However, America will rapidly become nothing more than a third world nation, signed President Donald J. Trump. Hey, what are you planning on doing for the midterms? How are you going to get involved? What are you going to do? Now, I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I want the Republicans to win. That's the sane party right now. What are you going to do? It's an off year. Not an off year. It's a midterm. And too many of us, especially me, traditionally, I only give a damn during a presidential year. This politics stuff, you can have it. I can't stand it, to be honest. Half of it I can't stand, but it doesn't matter. It's too important for me to not get involved. Too important for you not to get involved. And we have to go out there and vote like President Trump was on the ballot. You know, that's the thing about us. Democrats are more motivated. They don't have much else going on in their lives. Right? They're angry. Many of them don't believe in God. They just, this is it. A lot of them don't believe in families, the nuclear family. What could be more selfish than the nuclear family? Oh, aren't you worried about global warming? So this is all they live for. We have other things going on, but we have to put some of those things. We don't even have to put anything aside. We can do two things. We can vote our asses off, and we can start giving money. You know that Act Blue? That Act Blue thing is interesting. It's very easy to donate. Very easy to donate. It's actually not that hard to donate on our side, but there's not like one great big common cause that you can give to, right? What do you do? Give to Donald Trump? What do we give to? They give to Act Blue. Act Blue, and then the rest, and then they figure it out. We have to get, there should be something similar. It doesn't matter. There won't be anything similar before the election. We have to start giving money. And I'm not talking about $1,000, $10, $20, $15, $5, $1. And if you start doing that, it's almost like when you start betting on sports, right? You know, sometimes I'm like, why are these people so into sports? Because they're betting money on it. If you want, John Thune should not allow the United States Senate to leave town until it passes the Save America Act. Far better still, terminate the filibuster, where Republicans can then quickly pass everything they ever dreamed of, including a full and deep-throated Save America Act, the budget, and the ever-looming debt ceiling disaster, 1929. The Democrats will do it on day one and can't believe how lucky they got with this Senate leadership. Remember, stupidity always brings losing and death. President John Trump, Donald J. Trump. Yeah, that Thune, huh? What a character. It's not Democrat socialism, it's communism. You cannot put lipstick on a pig to fool Americans. This is great stuff. This is what this is worth signing up for truth. That John Thune is a strange cat. I wonder what really motivates him. What's he thinking behind closed? What's going on in that pretty boy head of his? You know? Never trust the pretty boys. They're too into themselves and they're grooming. John Thune. If someone has no faith in God and hates America, they will vote Democrat, guaranteed. That's from President Trump. And that actually, it does kind of correspond to what we were just talking about. And it adds up. The educated, godless people are for Democrats. And the faith-based people who maybe didn't spend, so many years and so much money getting extra worthless degrees, they tend to be Republican. What policies are the Democrats running on the midterms? Open the borders back up, defund law enforcement, stop deporting criminal illegal aliens, tax Americans more Medicaid fraud. Seriously, what do the Democrats stand for other than hating the president? It's a great point. And by the way, right now, it's not, they are out to demoralize us. They want us to feel crummy. And we have to have a good time every step of the way. We have to remember to laugh. We have to use ridicule as a tool. All right, it's okay to ridicule our enemies as long as we also defeat them. It can make defeating them a happy kind of chore, because they actually don't have it made right now. If we get fired up, if we get out there and vote, we are going to win, because just like President Trump says, they have no real agenda. All right? I mean, this crazy socialist stuff, this communist stuff, the Democrats are panicking. They are. Hakeem Jeffries, Schumer, the rest of them, they know that this stuff is, what do they really have other than, well, it's a midterm year, and the party out of power is supposed to do well. Other than that textbook truism, which isn't always true, what do they have? And the answer is not much. And actually, the finger pointing in the Democrat Party, and this is a really good sign, is already happening. They're blaming people for the loss today, even though they haven't lost yet. But it's less than 100 days to go. 99 days. You could win a war in 99 days. Maybe we'll be done with the Iran war. Maybe we won't. Maybe we shouldn't even worry about it. I'm not going to worry about it. It can't. Gas prices are still far lower than they were under Joe Biden. I would like it if there were peace, but I can accept it if there's not. Middle East, problems in the Middle East. I've been hearing that line my entire life. There's been problems in the Middle East. We're concerned over developments in the Middle East. Democrats are in chaos. We're auditing every state for non-citizen voters. The steal ends right now. That New Jersey thing is blowing up. They can't put it away. 6,000 illegals making arrangements to vote. 400 of them actually, and this is coming. The Democrats were forced to admit this one. Where else is it? Who else voted? They always said there was no widespread fraud. Okay, it doesn't take widespread fraud. Just a little bit in some of these elections. 400 people voted. How many votes did George W. Bush beat Al Gore by, Virginia, in 2000? 538, I think it was, 538. We're on day 15 of hitting Iran hard beyond anything they have ever imagined. They still haven't received enough pain. They still have not received enough pain. And to the mullahs, we now introduce our new secret weapon. What is that? We have something called a Lockheed U-2 Dragon Lady. Ooh, a Dragon Lady. We do have all kinds of great weaponry. Only so much you can do with the weaponry. And by the way, when you have really great weaponry, what happens? Sometimes it malfunctions. Sometimes there's operator error. Sometimes really bad things happen in war. And bad things will happen. But I think these are acceptable. I hate to talk about it in such terms, but these are acceptable losses. You know about acceptable losses? These are acceptable losses. Did you hear about the White House Correspondents Dinner? Let's just do a little bit here. A little bit. Cut 13, if you don't mind. This is President Trump at the rescheduled White House Correspondents Dinner because, well, he almost got killed at the first one in April. Cut 13.
Wow, that was very beautiful, but this has not been an easy evening, all these awards. Do I have a say in those awards, all those awards? But it's great to be back at a place that I know very well because I built it. And I'm very proud of it because I built it for $2.9 billion less than the Federal Reserve building, which is a lot smaller, by the way. Figure that one out. But I am delighted to be here at the White House Correspondents Dinner. Amazing people, a lot of people that I like. Some I don't like it all. But I respect most of them, I must say that. You do a great job, amazing job, and it's an honor. As I said 3 months ago, the show must go on. We were backstage, and we both wanted to just have it go on, whether it was 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, it didn't matter. But in the end, it made more sense to do it the way we're doing it. And we had a great news conference at the White House, in a very important room. And you did very well. I think we all did very well. It was a hell of an evening, I can tell you that. Won't soon be forgotten. And I think a lot was learned from that evening. A tremendous amount was learned about security and about other things, the dangers of what we all do. But just like my presidency, the second time is always better. It's always better. And the third time will be better yet. I'm only kidding.
All right, he started strong. Carlos, do me a favor, take a look at this thing. He started very strong and a great cadence. Now, unfortunately, what he did was he held back, right? He kind of laid into people pretty good there. These awards. He was he's just warming up, and the audience laughed big time. But he had some really, really serious rebukes, funny rebukes of so many people in the room. And because that, somebody was shot at the last one and just didn't feel, I don't think he felt right. This is somehow supposed to be like a solemn occasion. So he just kind of riffed about other things. And he went easy on the fake news. He got RFK really good, though. All right, RFK. Does anybody know the story about people don't know this, even though it was public. Like 15 years ago, and I remember this, an animal, a bear, was found in Central Park, a dead bear. And everybody was like, what the hell is this doing here? There are no bears in Central Park. And it made the news, and nobody knew how it got there. And, well, it turned out that Robert F. Kennedy ran over the damn thing. He found it up in the woods, and he put it in the trunk of his car and forgot about it. And then he had to go to the airport, and he got rid of it in Central Park. A couple of his buddies knew about it. It was in the news. Where did this bear come from? Well, RFK let it out of his damn car. He ran over it, put it in his trunk, just crazy stuff. So President Trump picks up on that last night. RFK, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., was in the room and with his beautiful wife, Cheryl Hines. Remember from Curb Your Enthusiasm, Larry David? Carlos, you ready? Go ahead.
I hope that everyone finally got to enjoy their entire, very delicious beef tenderloins, very special beef. And I want you all to know that Bobby Kennedy, who's right here, personally ran over the cow in his car. And he cut it up and he brought it here for you to eat tonight. So it's very fresh. And Bobby also suggested an appetizer featuring his favorite cut of male raccoon roadkill. But we drew the line at that, Cheryl. We said, no, we're not going to do that. We're not doing that. We love Bobby. I'll tell you, he's a piece of work. You think it is fun, but he is a very different kind of a person, I will tell you. But he has what it takes, and he's smart, and he loves the country, and he wants people to be made to feel good. You agree with that, Bobby? He wants people to feel good. And he's doing a fantastic job. Thank you, Bobby. Thank you.
The road. He personally ran over the cow and cut it up for all of you. All right, but that was about it. That was about it as far as the levity. All right, then it got a little bit. Anyway, he was holding back out of respect for, I don't know. He had a little bit too much respect. We'll be right back.
Greg Kelly
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
I found, you know who's going to get it? I'm going to make a video about it. Wolf Blitzer. You know, all these journalists, one after the next, they were taking these nasty little shots, and President Trump is right there. One, they gave a Best Picture of the Year award to a photographer who took a picture of President Trump standing at his desk while there was a huddle of people behind him tending to that dude who fainted. Remember a couple of months ago there was a guy who just fainted during a kind of a presentation in the Oval Office. He was, the guest of a guest. He wasn't like a member of the cabinet or whatever. President Trump, looked over there. Everybody did. And Dr. Oz was right next to the dude and started tending to him right away. And there are like 15 people over him. And then at one point, President Trump is looking there. Then he looks away and he's looking at the rest of the room. And it's like, oh, look at this. President Trump doesn't care. And it was the idea that they gave an award to this moment in time, right? This one moment in time where you can spin it if you really want to make it look as though President Trump doesn't care. Now, anybody grow up on that TV show Emergency, right, with the paramedics? Remember that show with what are those guys named? Johnny and Gage or something like that, and Rampart. Well, anytime they find somebody, those guys showed up at the scene and there's some guy on the ground having a heart attack or whatever, what do they always say? Get back. Everybody else get back. Give him some air. You really needed 15 people over this guy? The President of the United States? What does he know about first aid? Also, he had to continue to lead. There were other people in the room as well. So just one of the many little jerk moves they try to pull on POTUS the other night, and I don't like it, but whatever. Comes with the territory, right? Who's this? Brian, how are you?
Greg, hi, I'm a big fan. Semper Fi.
Semper Fi, what's up?
I just happened to put on Fox the other day when I was in the middle of the day at home. Did you see the press conference of the police chief at the Madison police shooting?
Was it woke as hell?
It was woke as hell, and Greg, you have to watch it. It was the sickest thing I've ever seen. I will. Hey, thanks for telling me, Brian.
My cable was out. We're going to get it when we come back in a little while.
Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Hey, a lot of you, and you're great for remembering my buddy Bill Stevenson. Bill Stevenson, the ex-husband of Jill Biden, is in a Delaware jail right now on suspicion of murder, first-degree murder of his wife. Now, I've met them both, Bill Stevenson and his wife, in person. And I got to know Bill pretty well over the years, and I don't believe he's guilty. And I look at this case, and I see all kinds of weirdo anomalies with the case, and I become even more convinced, at the very least, something corrupt is going on in Delaware against my friend Bill Stevenson. And, I want answers, and I've been pursuing answers, and actually some really awesome folks have kind of joined forces with me. Great journalists and researchers and truth seekers like Joel Gilbert and Garrett Ziegler from the Marco Polo Project. But Joel Gilbert is the gifted author and filmmaker and journalist. He's been writing about this, will be writing about this for the Gateway Pundit and more. Welcome back, Joel Gilbert. How are you? And thanks for all the work you're doing on this with me.
Okay, pretty good. Well, I'm enjoying looking into it because, every American is innocent until proven guilty. And all the signs point to Bill Stevenson being railroaded in the state of Delaware, which I found out is not really a state. It's more like this corporation, which Joe Biden has been sitting at the center of for many, many years. So there's lots of anomalies in this case. The biggest problem and the biggest red flag is that the state of Delaware will not release any information whatsoever. Biggest suspicion is they did an autopsy on Stevenson's wife. It was inconclusive. There was not even a cause of death, let alone a cause of anyone killing her. And somebody ordered a second autopsy, and we don't know who did it and who ordered it, but somehow based on that, they indicted Stevenson, who pled not guilty. And I've put in a series of FOIA requests, Freedom of Information Act, to the state of Delaware, the police department, and they are all rejected. They won't release 911 calls, autopsy reports, investigation, body cam, nothing, which is very, very abnormal. And I even had Judicial Watch and another friend of mine who lives in Delaware put in the same request. Same thing. They won't release any information whatsoever. So that's a big red flag. They want to present it to a jury without the media or the public getting any chance to look at the evidence, whatever it is.
Okay, and for anybody, look, this is what I suspect, and maybe Joel, you too, but Bill Stevenson came out pretty hard against the Bidens in 2024 and 2023 because, well, in 2020 he came out and said, look, Joe and Jill say they met at a beautiful blind date kind of situation. No, they had an affair behind my back because I was married to Jill, and I was there, and I actually introduced Joe to Jill. I know how it happened. And here he is, actually late in the campaign in 2024. He went a little bit further. Here he is, a video he made with me. Are you ready, Carlos? Hit it, please. How do you feel when you see Jill Biden and what she's doing seems to be desperately clinging to power? What can you tell us? What is your take on what's happening?
Well, my take is the only take that can be taken seriously, to be perfectly honest, Greg, because it has been 40 years that we've been married. Yep, a lot is going on. And as you say, I have no hard feelings. I've lived a better life since the divorce. The divorce was wicked, and I'll speak about that in a minute. But, Greg, I'm the only one that can tell the truth about what's going on here. And I am telling you, the young lady, Dr. Jill Biden, that I see on stage is somebody that I really don't even recognize anymore. It's sort of amazing how she's matriculated into this person. And you're right. I have no hard feelings. That's so far in the past. I even don't even realize that it's true anymore. But let me tell you something else. When I saw her yell on the stage that a president that I love, Donald J. Trump, I could not stand by any longer when she said he's a liar. It drove me crazy. I can't stand it anymore. Maybe I am taking the gloves off. I don't know. But, Greg, it's unfair. I don't understand her. I don't understand that she does not see that her husband, the president of the United States, is struggling. She's got to do something about this and realize that this is not any good for anybody, and especially the country.
All right, let's stop it right there. So it gives you a sense of why the Bidens probably noticed this, saw this, and I think that's the motive why they would probably want this guy railroaded. But Joel, back to you. I just thought it was important to point out a potential motive for why he's being treated so unfairly, it seems. Keep going, please.
Yeah, I would say that, look, the Bidens seem to be vindictive people. You caught that quote where Biden said on a hot mic in 2022, he said, "No one F's with the Biden." Jill released this book called A View from the East Wing, where she talks about her marriage to Bill Stevenson, and she's still bitter about the divorce because she didn't get an ownership interest in his famous nightclub called the Stone Balloon. And when you listen to the audiobook version, Jill just flies into a rage. She's so angry, so many years later, after all the millions of dollars and being first lady, she's still mad about it. So we have to wonder what's going on in Delaware, why the state of Delaware won't release one piece of information about this case. I even called the public defender that's representing Bill Stevenson. He won't return my calls whatsoever. Bill also got put on a $2 million cash bail. And this means that he has to give a $2 million check to the state of Delaware to get out of prison or give away $600,000 in a non-refundable fee. So that means because he doesn't have the resources, he stays in jail for 1 full year prior to his trial, even though he's not been convicted of anything. So everything is just starting to stink to high heavens. Why is a 78-year-old man who's not a flight risk being kept in prison for a year in a case where the initial autopsy couldn't even find any wrongdoing or even any cause of death? So we're looking for answers. I talked to his power of attorney. Bill has a power of attorney that's taking care of his affairs. His power of attorney just got subpoenaed by the prosecution, even though he has no information whatsoever about the case. So every piece that's going on here, there's some concern is there really regular justice going on in Delaware, or is it all because no one should F with a Biden? And that's what the Bidens have said.
So, look, we've been kind of banging the drum about this for a while. You and me, Garrett, conservative media, and they're still kind of doing what they're doing in Delaware. I see no sign of them being embarrassed by any of this, I'm sure they're aware of what we're doing, but they show no signs of being, somehow regretful or might change their approach. Now, I feel that's because mainstream media, dominant media, by that I mean fake news and left-wing media, because that's who they respond to and that's who they're worried about. They haven't shown any interest in this story. And I think, Joel, that we might be able to engineer some, because as you know, there's a lot of ill will toward Joe Biden in the Democrat Party. A lot of people don't feel like they owe Joe anything and that he really screwed things up for them. So I'm kind of hopeful that we can get some mainstream media attention, and I hate to have to rely on them, but look, I'll do anything to help this guy at this point, and I think that will help.
Well, certainly at his age, being in jail for a year for something that they can't even tell what really happened is just sounds like nuts. But, Delaware is certainly this close-knit political, legal, and law enforcement relationships that go on for years, and Biden was at the center of this political establishment. So all we have is questions, and the state of Delaware refuses to release an autopsy report. They refuse to release the 911 tapes. Usually, in any case, they release the 911 call the next day, and they won't release a damn thing. I actually called the public information officer at the Newcastle County Police Department, and I said, why won't you release any information? And he was just very robotic. He said, that's what the district attorney's office told us to do, not to release anything. So I have a lot of concerns, and you're going to see tomorrow in the Gateway Pundit, you'll see a big article I wrote, all my research, and hopefully the media will pick up on this, because no one should get railroaded in this country.
Let's go back to the conversation we had with Bill Stevenson. This is during the election year 2024, after that crazy debate that Joe lost, and Jill acted like a crazy person. Go ahead. Bill, you went through the divorce. We mentioned that. And the deal that was kind of brokered by the judge, my understanding, was very much in your favor, not in her favor, because Joe Biden got involved, brought in a new lawyer, made it a big case when it didn't have to be. The judge kind of shocked you in the courtroom by the deal he worked out, and Joe was humiliated, embarrassed, and it seemed like he wanted to take revenge on you. Do I have that right?
You have it exactly right. The court case, I had no idea where this was going to come. At this point, I really thought that, okay, we're getting a divorce, we're moving on, and a lot of people think that they are shocked what she has said just recently in the last couple of months, and how she's taken like a whole new course of taking control and literally making decisions, I believe, for the president of the United States. But here's what happened. Back there during the divorce, I was very successful very early. When I married Jill in 1970, we didn't have a dime. And I took a little bit of an inheritance from an uncle and opened up the very successful Stone Balloon nightclub in Newark, Delaware. It's probably listed as one of the top 10 college bars in the country, Greg. But we get into this divorce, and what I saw a couple nights ago with her on stage, everybody thinks, oh my goodness gracious, this is such a shock. But guess what? In my divorce trial in 1976, I walked into court. We tried to make a deal. We offered her up to $1 million. She dumped her lawyers, hired Joe Biden's former law partner, and I am telling you, for 3 days, it was a person that I truly did not recognize. She was bitter, and I've never said this before, Greg. I'm only sharing this with you. She was bitter, she was nasty, and she said things in the court that were crazy. She was accusing me of stealing millions of dollars from my own business over the 5 years. Stuff like that. This brought the IRS in. This brought the Department of Justice further in my life, it was brutal, Greg.
Hey, I want to jump in here. And Joel, you just referred to this. So what he's talking about, Jill confirms, Jill writes in her own autobiography, the one that came out like 2 months ago, this woman has been First Lady of the United States, Second Lady of the United States. She's been on Air Force One. She slept in Buckingham Palace, all right? She lived in the White House. And she's still upset that she didn't get enough money from Bill Stevenson and that silly bar. It's not a silly bar, but in retrospect, 50. Listen to this. When my first marriage ended, this is Jill Biden, in my mid-20s, I was thrown into a financial panic. I'd married at 18. I didn't have a career or even a college degree. My then husband owned a popular college bar that he held on to. I wound up with less than a quarter of what I imagined to be our shared money. I swore that I would never be in that vulnerable position again. I couldn't very well preach independence, and this is what she's talking about, for my whole life and then throw it out the window the second I was living in a fancy house because of my husband's position. Could I? So this was like a life-changing moment for her. And you say, Joel, I only read this. You listen to it, the audio version, and you can hear her emotion.
Oh, man, she gets like all of a sudden her voice changes. She gets more emotional. She starts kind of getting angry. So you definitely have to listen to the audiobook version to appreciate how angry she is over that settlement.
That's pretty wild. All right, well, we will. Joel Gilbert, you're really interesting. You've done it all. And Joel, tell us real quick, didn't you like hang around Al Gore for a while on Capitol Hill when you were like 20 years old?
Yeah, I was an intern for Gore because I'm originally from Tennessee. So I was an intern when he was a U.S. Senator. And so I got to meet him and know him a little bit while he was a senator from Tennessee. He was actually a very conservative senator at the time and had not gone over the edge in terms of this climate madness yet. He was actually kind of a normal person at the time. But I did make a movie called the Climate According to AI Al Gore, where I interview the AI version of Al Gore, and we get the real truth about the whole climate hoax. So that's definitely a movie you want to check out.
No, it's really interesting. Well done, Joel Gilbert. Check it out. The the Gateway Pundit will be up tomorrow by Joel Gilbert. Thank you, Joel. To be continued, and we'll see you later. You bet, pal. You bet. All right. 800-848-9222. 800-848-9222. I saw Mark Kelly. No relation. People ask me if I'm related to Mark Kelly, the senator, who used to be cool. And then he went woke and weird. And he's thinking of running for president. Oh, boy. I've heard of crazier ideas. He'd be something to deal with. He would be he'd be formidable, totally beatable because he sold his soul for all this power. But Mark Kelly may be the next entrant, or one of the first entrants, I should say, into the Democrat race for president. We'll be right back.
Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
All right, 800-848-9222, 800-848-9222. Let's see, who do we have here? We have with me, I can't read that little line there. Is that Eric? Is Eric there? Yeah, the butt nut. Is that you, Eric?
That is me, and thank you very much for taking my call. Correct.
What's up?
I'm one of the people who pioneered the Americans with Disabilities Act under President Reagan. And to me, I can't believe that I'm living through what I'm living through these days. It's like people forgot how to communicate. It's like everybody's doing the Wild West or Mad Max syndrome. And I remember talking to my friends 30 years ago that I would get to this point, and they looked at me like I had two heads. So I'm wondering if we'll ever get back to communication instead of texting and hide behind texting, and it just makes me very sad.
Don't get so sad about it. You got to keep up with the times. Hey, let me ask you something there, Eric. The American with Disabilities Act, not to be a nitpicker here, but I thought it was George H.W. Bush who made that thing happen.
It did, but there was a lot of layers behind that. So it actually started with Henry Visconti in 1975 and built up to the Americans with Disabilities Act.
I hear you, yeah, and HW signed it. Now we have ramps everywhere and all that stuff, and it's good stuff. Forgive me, but you sound pretty close to it. Do you have a disability?
I've been born with cerebral palsy my whole life. My dad was Elvis Presley's engineer. He worked for RCA for 15 years, and he also pioneered one of the first disabled mixing boards.
Mixing boards? You mean for sound?
Yeah. I mean, his first client was Elvis Presley, Jailhouse Rock.
Wow. How about that? Hey, look, I'm with you on the texting and stuff like that. It is, I have this idea. It's called What Else? I don't know if it's a book or a movie, but the theme of it is what else is there beyond your digital life? Your phone and all that stuff on the phone, right? Texting and videos and tweeting and Instagram. And my answer is everything. Everything that makes life worth living is not on your phone. What else? What else is there? And the answer is everything. What else is there beyond your digital life? So, just because it's everywhere, we shouldn't succumb to it. We should not succumb to it. Big tech in many ways is our biggest enemy. They do things with that technology, but they also get people hooked. So don't be sad, all right? Just try to be the change you want to be. You got on the phone, you called me, I appreciate it. Call a relative. We don't have to give in. Somebody once told me that's like pissing in the wind, Greg, but, guess what? I got to take a leak. You know what I mean? Now, right there, Eric?
Yep, and thanks for your kindness, and tell everybody at WABC that I said hello. You do that.
Oh, thank you, Eric. Keep in touch, all right? How about that, your dad? 50 years at the Radio Corporation of America, RCA. Remember when it was the RCA building? What do they have at the top of that thing right now? What is it? All Brand Insurance? What the hell is it? Cablevision? Comcast? They ought to make it the RCA building again, even if it ain't the RCA building, all right? Can we make some arrangements? Thank you very much.
Thanks for listening to The Greg Kelly Show. You can hear The Greg Kelly Show weekdays at 12:15 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?